All right. Good morning, everyone. Tuning in from Tacoma, Washington, the Pacific Northwest. Hi, my name is Nancy Rebecca. And welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Thursday Live. I go Thursday. Every Thursday, I go live. And in 5 years, I think I've only maybe kind of missed 3. However, I just want to pop on and let you know next Thursday, I'm not going to be going live, but I have made a really great video for you about connecting with your higher self, because that's one of the biggest questions I am asked. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. We've got a fantastic community that is so supportive. I want to first say hello to our international community and to include the United States. So the American Midwest, I want to say hello, Vancouver Island, BC, Sweden, Cornwall, UK, Virginia Beach, Virginia, the Netherlands, Ontario, Canada, New Brunswick, Boulder, Colorado, Quebec, and we'll bring up the rear with Texas. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, as the title says, we're going to talk about let go of the grip and let the light in. And my question to you and my question to myself and in the universe, is gentleness going to be the new superpower? So we're going to dive right into it. So have you ever held on to things so tightly that you didn't even realize how tense you were? And my spirit team showed me this image of a roller coaster, where you're getting kind of locked in or seat belted in, you're holding the bar and you don't even know that you're white knuckling it as it climbs higher and higher and higher, while your fear goes higher and higher and higher. And then once you flip onto the other side, it's just like, your stomach's in your throat, but all of a sudden you're forced to let go. So trying to stay grounded. Are you trying to stay grounded? I had one of my students yesterday saying that they've learned a lot about grounding working with me, and but they talk about in the beginning how they would just clench their eyes in their fist and they're trying to ground so tightly. So staying grounded, trying to keep it all together, trying to make sense of the chaos. Yeah, we're all trying to make sense of that. And this week in my meditation, I was just again quietly centering and grounding, attempting to mind my own business, when this loud, gentle voice said, the meek shall inherit the earth. And my eyes burst open, and I know my team. I know my spirit team. I know my higher self's voice. I know my guide's voice. This was one of those frequencies, because we're talking about the frequency forecast. It was one of those frequencies that came with words of wisdom. Now, I didn't actually know what that meant. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, get ready for the deep dive. So for anybody who knows what that means, or you even think you know what that means, or you've pondered what it means, I'm going to give you full 100% permission to do your own deep dive and explore it for yourself. But when I looked deeper past any religious translation, I realized it wasn't about weakness, because I thought meek was weakness. I also thought it might be a little bit about just submission and go with the flow and just accept everything as it comes, which is a lot of times in the spiritual community, that's what we are trained to do or programmed to do, whatever you want to call it. But it was more about releasing rigidity so that sound and light can actually move through your life. So I'm going to really get into that more. So in this talk today, I want to explore why so many of us unconsciously hold on to tension in our energy field and in our body, how rigidity, even spiritual rigidity, blocks frequencies that we are attempting to call in. and what it really means to soften without falling apart. Remember my last video about Humpty Dumpty, and how to trust light, sound, and spirit to fill in what you no longer need to control. There's that control. And I'm also going to guide you through a gentle live meditation to help you release internal pressure, restore a natural energetic flow, and to create space in your life for more light and a beautiful frequency to move through you freely. So you don't have to carry it all. You have help. You have support. So let's loosen that grip together, and I'm going to invite something luminous to take its place. What was I going to say about that? So I don't know what I was going to say about that. There is a lot going on. And I had a couple of you right after last week when I was talking about Humpty Dumpty falling and all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again because why? It's an inside job. Only you can do it. I can't do it for you, but I can encourage you and I can maybe help share some tools to help, but it is an inside job. So that, you know, someone was like, all right, it's already been terrible. And now you're telling me it's going to get more terrible? Well, I don't know that I was saying it was going to get more terrible in the months to come. But yes, it's like things are getting shaken up. We know we've had earthquakes in the earth. What makes us think we're not going to have earthquakes in our own body? And so I'm just suggesting that we all try to figure out ways to, I call it, you know, that little survival kit, because here in Washington State, you know, earthquakes can be a real thing for us. And most families do have that go bag, you know, where you're going to carry extra water and, you know, things when you have to run out of the house in the earthquake. So it's all about kind of planning in these few months ahead to when you're having that off day, just drop everything and go for a walk. You know, there are little things that are highly, highly successful. And the meek shall inherit the earth. And when I did my deep dive, I learned a whole lot more than I did before. So how often have we heard those words and misunderstood them? In Aramaic, it does not mean, so Aramaic is the language, the original language that Jesus spoke historically. Am I talking about this as a factual historian? I might sound like it, but I'm not. So I'm going to encourage you all to get your own information about this. So I just did my own little kind of deep dive research. So in Aramaic, it doesn't mean weak, it means gentle to those who soften their inner rigidity, those who can walk lightly and yet still stand strong. And what if the true inheritance isn't power of land, but heaven itself? And there's a different interpretation about heaven as well that I'm going to get into to kind of, we'll just kind of play with words a little bit. Sound and light infusing. So the definition of heaven is sound and light infusing every leaf, every breath, every heartbeat. And in a world that feels hard and divided, we're being invited into softness. And then here's this word, and it's going to be a big word for us in the next few months, benevolence, a radiant kind of strength that creates heaven on earth. So, as I said, I heard that voice about meek, the meek shall inherit the earth. And I paused. I let those words ripple through me because to my modern ears, meek, as I said, can sound like a weakness. And when I was tracing it back to its roots in Aramaic, the language Jesus spoke, I found the treasure. So again, gentle and releasing rigidity. So basically, you are energetically and physically becoming the fertile soil for expansion and consciousness, ready to receive the abundance that nature, all of nature, to include the human natural conditions, to be gentle enough with yourself and with others that you can actually hear what's being communicated, yet strong enough to carry your life forward. But I was curious because when I heard that and they were talking about, those words that were spoken during Jesus's time, I was curious, are there other cultures that have shared similar wise teachings for us? So when I looked it up, Confucius called it Ren. Ren, the word Ren means benevolence and human-hearted. In Buddhism, it's called metta, meaning loving kindness radiating outwards to all beings. And the Hindu sages taught daya, compassion as the root of righteousness. I love that one. And then the native indigenous peoples spoke of living in right relationship with all of our relations. So even our modern environmental adages whisper, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. So it just simply reminds us that the earth belongs not to the powerful, but to those who walk gently upon it. So gentleness is not weak, and that's what you're being asked to really take a look at. And if you want, you can put it in the comments section right now, like, how do you define gentleness? With all that's going on in the world right now, does it feel like gentleness is going to be what it takes to get us through to the other side? Well, I don't know about you, but it doesn't feel that way to me. It feels like we need something big, to help make this shift. But what we may not be aware of is that we have been making those shifts. We've been making those frequency shifts. We've been making those energetic shifts. And speaking of frequency and energetic shifts, I often forget to do those little updates about the blue light frequency. It is still there, but guess what? It is totally saturating the world. It's totally saturating the earth. In fact, it's saturating so much that it's going deep into the earth, and it's saturating every single country in the entire world. The only places where I saw that it was a little rigid, so this is what we're talking about today, that rigidness is around war-torn countries. And what's happening is, what I can see in the world are these giant cracks, almost just like, the earth has just kind of pulled apart from the destructiveness of these countries. But what I see is the blue light it's just like almost a bottomless pit, but that blue light is going into those cracks. And what about the blue beings of light? The number of blue beings of light that are on the earth right now, uplifting humanity, go far beyond what you can count. So there has been a big surge in the last several weeks. Now, you all heard me last week. There's been events happening in my own personal life where our family's world got shaken up, right? I've heard from so many of you where things are getting shaken up, or family members getting physically ill and things like that. So, but I just want to let you know about the blue light, because I'm going to talk a little bit about what the blue light beings shared with me that came before this teaching today. The gentle shall inherit the earth. So then I learned something else. So you horse people out there, you're going to understand what I'm saying, but this was really interesting. A horse that is meeked, is not broken. It's trained to be strength under control, power aligned with purpose. So it's the horse is obedient under the command of their rider. And in this case, your human personality, your triggers, your reactivity, your criticism, your judgments are under the command of your own spirit. Now, I use this analogy a lot when it comes to horses because it is, in many cultures, the horse is symbolic of riding between worlds, being able to ride up to the heavens, ride back to the earth. And in this symbology, it's like your spirit is riding your horse. But how many of you have totally lost it? You throw the pan full of dinner across the kitchen, hitting the cabinet and food flying everywhere, picking up a chair, being so angry that you just don't even want to discuss any resolution. All right, that is that your spirit has the spirit, you don't allow your spirit to come in and infuse a little wisdom, maybe a little gentleness, and you can still be really pissed off, but manage to be in control and not throw it at anybody or punch anybody's lights out. So this is what we're talking about. So when a horse is meeked, I found that so fascinating. So it's command of your own spirit above and beyond your triggers, your judgments, your criticism. So in the same way, when we soften our inner rigidity, our defensiveness, our need to control, we inherit something greater than power, the ability to dwell in heaven on earth. So what is heaven on earth? Well, guess what I discovered? I was so excited. So in Aramaic, the language of Aramaic, heaven was not a far off afterlife. In the interpretation, heaven means the light and sound shining through all of creation. So when they talk about that heavenly frequency on earth, it's where light and sound is shining through all of creation. Heaven was here infusing the rivers, the trees, the air that we breathe, with a living resonance of the cosmos. So my answer was not if the being was benevolent. Oh, I just missed a line. Okay. So recently I did this podcast interview. So this was just really like 5 days ago. And the interviewer made this statement, and because I was talking about the blue beings of light, and they were like, yeah, if I saw these tall, 12-foot tall star beings, I think honestly, I might be pretty terrified and I might run out of the room. And I said, well, yeah, a lot of people say that. But when you are faced with that level of benevolence, of that kindness, and that gentle kindness and that never ending love for you and that radiance out of the eyes, it's just like you just melt. It's like somebody just pulled the pin of stress out from underneath you like a bathtub plug, and just the stress drains out of you. And there's no part of you that wants to run away from that. And if you've ever experienced that level of benevolence, I always see Jesus that way, or many ascended masters and archangels. When they're around, there's this benevolent frequency that comes in with them. And it's like, you don't want to run away. You have this desire to be fully present in their fully presence. Does that make sense? And so I said, my answer is not if the being's benevolent, beautiful, radiant in divine light, standing before you, gentleness in their eyes, radiance in their souls. So let's talk about benevolence a little bit, because let me just tell you, the information the blue beings of light provided for me was at the end of December heading into January, an enormous wave of benevolent frequency is coming to the earth. A very felt sense benevolence. I'm going to talk about benevolence, but I remember when they said that, I looked at them and I'm like, don't tease me. Don't tease me. Like, if you're saying benevolent, a wave of benevolence is coming to the earth at the end of 2025, you better mean it. I want to feel it, right? I want to experience it. I want it to touch my life. So don't be joking around here. So let me talk about benevolence. Benevolence is not an act. You can't make yourself be benevolent. It is a state of being. It is the quiet radiance of goodwill. Write that on your paper, goodwill, that arises when your heart is unburdened and your soul remembers its kinship with all life. True benevolence does not ask, what can I give? It simply shines. And in that shining, it nourishments a flow where it is most needed. It is a gentle hand that steadies another, the smile that softens sorrow, the silent prayer that holds the world without expecting anything in return. Benevolence is love, I love this one, made practical, compassion made visible, and kindness made enduring. It is the frequency of heaven woven into the fabric of earth. So when my spirit team and the blue beings of light showed me that there would be this great wave of benevolence moving towards the earth at the end of 2025, astrology tells a similar story. So for those astrologists out there, if you have anything to add to this, let me know. So Jupiter is in Cancer from mid 2025 to mid 2026. And this is the planet of generosity, is exalted, pouring compassion, care, and belonging into the world. Mercury and Venus transit in late 2025, inviting us to clear rigid patterns. We're going to do a meditation on this. Rigid patterns and commit to love in action. And Neptune, moving forward into January 2026, shifts us from dream to courageous compassion in action. So together, these cosmic rhythms that are moving in echo our Aramaic wisdom. When we soften, we embody benevolence. Heaven reveals itself through us, through the frequencies of light and the frequencies of sound, which is that Aramaic interpretation of heaven, meaning frequencies of light and sound infuses all of nature. So why does this matter to your life right now? Because we're living in times where we are really struggling. Even some of us are struggling a little bit. Some of us are struggling a lot. We seem to be living in a state of constant division, uncertainty, and chaos, yet the teaching still remains today. Blessed are the gentle, for they shall inherit the earth, not by force, not by domination, but by creating a space of light and sound, the true heaven to shine through all of nature and through all of us. And benevolence is not a way to escape from the world's pain. It's simply a balm that heals us. You know, that balm that's that soothing salve, like cream that just makes, if you've fallen down and skinned your knees and you put that balm on, and it's just like everything is soothed and calm, that's benevolence. And it begins when we soften, when we let go of our rigidness, and when we choose gentleness, even in the face of turbulence. So, why do so many of us consciously hold tension in our energy field? Unconsciously, excuse me. Well, just listen to the news. So, I will hear people say, I can't be bothered with that. I don't watch the news. I just do my own thing. I can't be bothered with it. Well, honey, let me tell you, you're still impacted by the frequencies. Even if you don't watch the news, the more jagged frequencies are still there. They're still impacting you. So why do we hold that tension in our energy field? Because we are being impacted by those frequencies. And those frequencies, the way that I see them, they're not so pleasant ones, I will say. They're jagged. It's like broken glass. And and as the peaks and valleys happen with it, and the frequencies go high and low very rapidly, it means we're getting super, super close to it just shattering into dust. So, how rigidity, even spiritual rigidity, blocks frequencies that are locked in. So, where you might hold rigid control in your body, where it might be rigid like a block of fear, like I better be prepared for the next shoe to drop, it can block that breath of the sound, the frequency of sound and the frequency of light from moving in. It'll move around it, but it may have a hard time moving through it. So, we're going to do that meditation today. And what does it really mean to soften without falling apart? Because often we feel like we've got to stay on high alert to stay safe. But when we start to let go of that rigid grip that we have on our life, it's like, oh, when that light of spirit can move through sound and light, when it can move through, you can have things fall together in your life in ways you can't even begin to imagine. It's like the universe is just waiting to just present this abundance of benevolence in our life. And how to trust light and sound and spirit to fill you in where you no longer need to control it. And that's going to require just a little bit of trust and faith. But this is what I want to ask you. Where are the rigid places in your own life that long and crave to be softened? How might you embody benevolent gentleness, not as a fragility, but as a powerful alignment with love? And what would it look like for heaven, interpreted as sound and light? What would that look like in your life if you allowed it to shine through you right here, right now? So perhaps this is the inheritance we've been waiting for, right? The gentle will inherit the earth. Maybe this is the inheritance we've been waiting for, not land or power, but the realization that heaven is not separate from earth. Heaven is what emerges when benevolence and gentleness are lived every day. So, we're not here to conquer it. We're here because we are moving through this humbleness, humble enough to receive the sacred gift that has always been available for us. Okay, now we are going to do a guided meditation. Okay. But just before we do that, I do want to mention every equinox and solstice, I tune in to an entire group of people. We've almost had 1,000 before, as if you are one individual person. I'm doing a psychic reading and healing on the mass group of people as if you were one person, and you all come together to shift in enormous ways what you are not able to shift on your own. You've got the support of a huge group. no matter what else is going on in your life, you definitely want to join group events to help you shift, get grounded and centered. So this was just put on my website last night. You'll be one of the first ones to register, but the link is below. For the fall equinox, you can read more about it. Okay, thanks, warrior girl. All right. Boy, I keep wanting to. Okay. So in this guided meditation, I'm going to voice guide you, and the theme is releasing rigidness, infusing benevolence, and heavenly light and sound. So go ahead, close your eyes. Allow yourself to either breathe deeply and intentionally, or just breathe normally. Knowing that as you are breathing in this fresh sound and light, and you're exhaling old toxins. While the garbage truck is literally driving by symbolically to take away what is no longer needed. Say hello to your body, because remember, even if you're making those great choices to move away from any events that cause stress, your body can still sometimes be taking those frequency hits. So just take a moment to speak to your body in a beautiful, supportive, uplifting way. As you are offering that loving, kind, gentle support for your body, just know that your higher self, your higher soul self, and the earth beneath your feet are supporting you. So right now, allow yourself to feel supported by the light of your own soul, the benevolence of your own soul, and feel the support beneath you, solid, steady, unshakable. Now imagine roots extending from your body into the soil, reaching deep, connecting you with the magnetic core of the earth, the heart of the earth. And with each breath, draw in that deeper connection to the earth, into stillness, and allow each breath as you ground stronger and deeper to soften whatever may feel tight inside of you. Now, following the inner guidance, your inner guru, your inner teacher, your inner authority, check in what frequency of light and sound, what color frequency of light and sound will be best supportive for you today. And then once you get that color, that frequency, just allow it to come down from the cosmos, shower down through your entire auric field, shower down through your body, through your chakras. Don't forget the back. Don't forget your auric field in the back of your head and your neck. As you are in the flow of these supportive frequencies, now bring your personal awareness to your body and notice if there are any places that feel rigid, tight, or hardened to life. It might be in your chest, it might be in your stomach, your shoulders, or even in your thoughts. As you are soaking in these healing, supportive frequencies, as you breathe in, silently say to yourself, I see this place of rigidity. Be witness to your own rigidity. And then soak that rigidity with the light and the sound as you exhale, whispering, I soften, I let go. With each breath, imagine those rigid places melting with great ease, like warm, gentle water can melt an ice cube that turns into flowing water again. I see you. Just keep saying, I see you, tight control. I see you, rigid places. I see you, stuck energy. I soften, I let go. You will begin to notice yourself becoming more supple, more open, more alive. And then that illuminates other tight spots. So be witness, let go, expand into gentle softening. Where are you noticing that tightness the most in your body? Just notice what you notice and intuitively sense what you sense. letting it drain right down your grounding. There you go. You're really starting to dump it now. Now we're going to infuse and fill those places with benevolence. Now, personally, I often see the frequency of benevolence as a light blue or a light turquoise. If you see or sense benevolence as a different color frequency for you, please go with what you are receiving. If you've been working with any other color, you can let it drain out if you wish. And then let's bring in, by calling into the room where you are, the cosmic frequency that's available of benevolence, that's available to all of us at any time. We don't have to wait for the wave. So imagine the soft golden blue light descending gently around you, the frequency of benevolence, gentleness, and strength woven together. Experience this light and sound as it flows through and around you, going through your mind, supportive of your nervous system. Let it touch your heart. Feel it expand, the benevolence expand inside of you, because remember, benevolence has nothing to do with weakness. It is a power of love, of steadiness, and kindness. Steady, kind love. Now imagine with each wave that is filling you up, you're going to send that out and radiate benevolence outwards, first to your family, then to your community, and then across the whole entire world. As you share this beautiful benevolent frequency, whisper along the waves of that frequency, may all beings be held in gentleness. May all beings be blessed with benevolence. How incredibly beautiful. Now allow the benevolence to continue to radiate outwards. But now let's bring the awareness, we're almost coming to a close, to the natural world around you. Imagine sound and light infusing every part of creation. Hear the subtle hum of the trees alive with heaven. Experience the shimmering of light dancing and infusing the rivers, the oceans, and the skies. Feel the pulse of sound and light flowing through your own body, through your own blood, your breath, your being. Because this is truly heaven on earth, not far away, but here within and around you. Rest for a moment in this radiance, soft, open, benevolent, gently saying to yourself, I soften, I am gentle, I carry benevolence, and the light and sound of heaven shines through me. If you'd like to remain in this state, then I suggest you take a moment to pause this teaching. And otherwise, go ahead, if you've got to get on with your day, go ahead, come back to consciously the space that you're in. Thank your body, thank your spirit, thank the cosmos, thank the earth. Go ahead and stretch, move your body around. Whew. And let me know in the comment section how you were feeling before, what you're feeling now, knowing that this meditation is available to you all the time. Thank you for being here with me today. A gentle reminder about the fall equinox is just coming up in 3 weeks. The link to register is below. And that gentle reminder, I will not be here next week for the live event. I'm actually attending a conference called Phenomicon in Vernal, Utah. And this will be my 4th year going, and I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot, and I'll be happy to share it with you when I get back. All right, take good care. Lots of love. Let's keep radiating that benevolence, preparing to really drink in a lot more of it in the months to come. All right, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.